Hello, it's me.
Hey guys, it's me Aditya, and I'm welcoming you all back to another episode of the Funny Podcast. Very bizarre, very real. Once again, this episode is being created with support of the Podcast Lab by India Film Project and anchored by Spotify. Now, today I'm going to talk about something which is a not an incident per se, but it's something that has been a very strong experience in my life because as a child, whenever we used to watch something, the things we see is the things we believe, and that is how belief in the world establishes. I mean, in Western countries, you'll see the entire practice of setting up a Christmas tree, putting it up for Santa Claus. Everything goes on that ground. Same way in India also, the type of festivals we celebrate, the type of ideologies we practice through those medium, they all have the same quality. Now, coming to today's topic, as I said, it's not an anecdotal part, it's something like an experience which happened once, and that's what we're gonna focus. Now, today's episode is about something that happened recently, and it completely shattered my belief system. That's why I wanted to talk about it this week. So, recently, something very bad happened, and I mean it was not supposed to be bad, but it happened, and then I have not been able to think straight. So I watched an anime movie, and there were so many questions that came up after or while watching that movie, because my entire thought process was in an argument between what is logical and what is being told to me through the movie. The movie that I'm talking about is called Ramayana, The Legend of Prince Ram. Yes, this is an anime movie because it was created by a collaboration between India and Japan in 1992, a very significant year for uh, Ramayana enthusiasts. Now, talking about this movie, it was a huge deal because India and Japan wanted to strengthen their relations, and they decided that what better way than to create an anime out of an Indian story. But they did it in English. The original was in English, then it was dubbed into Hindi. And then there was probably a Japanese version, which I'm not sure about, but yes, there might have been. And the English version had Bryan Cranston as Ram. I mean that's pretty cool. You you know Cranston was the one who played Heisenberg. So apparently he went through a very drastic change from breaking and entering into Sri Lanka and rescuing his wife, and now he has the at least he has the audacity to go to someone's place and say I'm the one who knocks. So that is a pretty huge change. Same way, changes have happened. I saw this movie first time when I was a kid. Earlier they were showing it on Cartoon Network, then it came to Pogo and so on and so forth. And I watched it a couple of times because it's fun, man. It's really fun movie. It's a The way they've portrayed the entire story within the 2 hours of the movie. It's brilliant. As a child, now recently I watched it again, and the problem is that after studying and getting educated, you start questioning the logic in everything. I do that with every movie. I was talking about in one of my episodes, I was talking about DDLJ. DDLJ is fucking toxic, man. I mean, I love the movie, but it's very toxic at points. So, with a logical mind, it becomes really difficult to consume content. And I find it very difficult when it comes to these anime movies or animated movies, because you show things which defy the law of physics or nature in general. And that's why we are going to talk about the entire movie, that is Ramayana, the Legend of Prince Ram. And I'll try to point out certain things about Ramayana, because this is based on mythology. So I'll just say right up front, and I'll put a statutory warning that I'm not here to hurt anyone's sentiments. I am just gonna question certain things. For example, Ramayana, the movie that I saw, is different from what we saw recently during the lockdown that Doordarshan was replaying. This was animated, so the things that Lord Ram did or Ravan did, they were much more fancier. Now I'll start with the first part of the entire movie, where a demoness by the name of Tadka, is creating ruckus for some sages, some munis. And these munis, they get so annoyed that they worship Lord Vishnu for a solution, because Tadka and his son Marich were the one who were creating this ruckus, and they did not know how to tackle it. So one of them, Vishwamitra, prayed to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, after a lot of prayers, you know, came and spoke to Vishwamitra and said that, I won't help you, but if you really want to get rid of Tadka, you need to go to Ayodhya, present day UP, and you have to ask Dashrath for his son Ram. He'll help you. Now, this is my first point of logic, that Lord Vishnu is kind of histrionic, because he just showed himself, said that I can't help you, and asked Vishwamitra to go and ask his reincarnation to help. So, what was this? Like, why was Ram being treated as a middleman? Is the point. Because for those who don't know, Ram is a reincarnation of Vishnu, the seventh reincarnation. And that is where the story start, like that is where it started clicking me that okay, there are logical discrepancies. So yes, Vishwamitra went to Ayodhya, asked Dashrath for Ram, that I need help defeating Tadka and Ram should help me. Dashrath was also very well endowed and very generous, because he said, okay, Ram, go and take Lakshman as well. It's a buy one get one situation. So now we know where Domino's gets these Wednesday plan ideas. So here onwards, Ram and Lakshman went with Vishwamitra to back to the forest. Vishwamitra taught them how to uh, fight using certain weapons which had magical powers. So all of a sudden we see that they are chanting mantras, and those mantras are bringing on a shield, a trident, a sword, a chakra, and all of that. Then after a certain period, Tadka came in and Ram killed Tadka. Marich got injured, but he escaped, swearing that he would take revenge. Now we need to understand this, that in Ramayana, we will be talking about Ram rescuing Sita from Ravan. So Ravan is going to be a big character here. One more thing you need to know is that Marich was an ally of Ravan. So after that, Marich escaped and went towards south from nearby UP to Lanka. Here onwards, Marich is not an important part for us. Our important part is that Ram went back not to Ayodhya but to a place called Mithila. Mithila is the place where the Swayamvar of Sita happened. Ram and Sita had a love at first sight thing. Ram broke an arrow, sorry, a bow, and got Sita as her wife, as his wife. And that's it. They get married, they go back to Ayodhya. Seeing that, someone got jealous and tried to manipulate Dashrath. Being the generous person, Dashrath had granted one of his wives a wish. That wish was now being cashed out, wherein Bharat, the son of Kaikai, would be given the charge of Ayodhya, while Ram has to go on an exile, or what we call as Vanvas. Now, the second part here comes in. Ram again took Lakshman with him, even though Lakshman was not asked to leave Ayodhya. Lakshman was like, "नहीं, अब तो आदत हो गई है, and I need that much screen time." So Ram and Lakshman, along with Sita, went for a Vanvas. Again, one thing that bothers me is that Ayodhya was in UP, is in UP. So why did Ram we had to decide and go to Vanvas so far away? Because they went to a place called Panchwati, present day Maharashtra. यूपी के आसपास बहुत जंगल है. आई मीन देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ फॉरेस्ट्स. जिम कॉर्बेट है भाई, पूरी दुनिया जाती है जिम कॉर्बेट, और ये गए हैं महाराष्ट्र. सो दैट वाज वन थिंग दैट क्लिक्ड मी कि यार ये वनवास करना था तो कहीं भी कर सकते थे. व्हाई डिड दे ट्रैवल सो फार? अब पंचवटी में भी बहुत कुछ हुआ जहाँ पे मेरे को लॉजिक का इशू हुआ. नाउ दे एस्टैब्लिश्ड a lot of regions, because when we talk about these things in present day Maharashtra mein ye Panchwati forest now is a proper residential space. There's no forest as such. It's by the banks of river Godavari. And when we talk about the entire Sita getting kidnapped thing, that starts off first of all when Marich goes and tells Ravan's sister Surpanakha that, you know, there's this guy who's very handsome, Ram, you should, you know, definitely get married to him and all that. So Surpanakha went to Panchwati. वहाँ पे she just started seducing Ram. Ram, being a person who's all, you know, babe, cheating is a choice, loyalty is a privilege. Yeah, I'm married. I'm not here. But why don't you try on my brother Lakshman? He's single. So Surpanakha had a glance over Lakshman, who was at that point sitting on the roof of their kuti, of their hut. And Surpanakha said that, no man, Ram, you're too hot for me. I'm only attracted to you. So yeah. So Ram said that, no, as I said, I'm married. This is my wife Sita. And Sita, upon looking at her, Surpanakha got so jealous that she tried to attack her. Now Ram pushed her away, and Lakshman, like Samurai Jack, threw a small dagger towards Surpanakha that exactly just cut her nose. That's it. Upon that, Surpanakha ran away. Because of the nose cutting incident, that area in Panchwati became known as Nashik today. Because her Nasika was cut. Her nose was cut. So Nashik is where everything happened in Maharashtra. And upon getting her nose slashed out, Surpanakha went back to Ravan and tried to aggravate Ravan, saying that Ram is this, Ram is that, Sita is this, Sita is that, you should have Sita. Everything was done there. Now, Ravan, along with Marij, went to Nashik. From Sri Lanka, they went to Nashik. I mean, if they would have gone to Mumbai, we could have made a Jacqueline Fernandez joke, but no. So that is where they went, and the plan was Marish would masquerade as a deer, as a beautiful deer, so that they can distract Ram and Lakshman, while Ravan will be masquerading as the sage to manipulate and trick Sita. At this point, Marich went to towards the kutir, towards the hut where Ram, Lakshman, and Sita were there. Sita saw the Hiran, saw Marich, and Sita made a wish that, oh, look, Ram, that particular deer is so beautiful. Won't you catch him for me? And funnily enough, she asked this particular deer while she was feeding another deer. So think about how that deer must be feeling कि यार मैं इसको इतना affection दे रहा हूँ, मैं उससे खाना खा रहा हूँ, and she thinks I'm invisible. She wants another deer. I mean, कम से कम पीठ पीछे ऐसी बातें करो, मुंह पे कैसे बोल सकते हो? That deer standing right there. Now Ram was a little too obedient. So what he did was, he decided that yes, he will go and catch that deer, which was basically Marich. So he started running after the deer. But before going, he told Lakshman that no matter what, you have to protect Sita, because recently Surpanakha made an entire scene here. So this might be a trick there as well. So they just went ahead. A few frames later, Ram shot Marich. Marich transformed back to Marich. And as a very strong way of mocking Ram, he started yelling, Lakshman, help me, Lakshman, help me, in Ram's voice. Upon hearing that, Sita, being the adamant person she made Lakshman leave the hut and go and help Ram. Now, Lakshman, before leaving, because he was probably, according to me, he only seemed logical. He got very less screen dialogues, but whenever he did something, there was logic behind it. So Lakshman just went ahead. Before going there, he drew a line around the hut. And while doing so, he told Sita that you are not supposed to cross this line. This will protect you. And he ran away. Meanwhile, Ravan, who had masqueraded as a sage, went to the hut, asked Sita to give him bhiksha. Bhiksha basically meant food. And while doing so, Ravan could not cross the Lakshman Rekha. So Ravan threatened Sita that if you don't give me all the food by your own hands, you will be cursed. Now, being adamant, Sita made Lakshman go, but being naive, Sita crossed the Lakshman Rekha. The moment she did that, Ravan was able to hypnotize her, and on the screen in the movie, they made her eyes twinkle a little. So this was a very bad play on love at first sight again. So that was that. Sita got hypnotized and Ravan kidnapped her. So this was the first episode of the tale of Ramayana from my perspective. If you liked it, please show your love on all the streaming platforms where you are getting this particular podcast. I'll be back with the second part and discuss the rest of the movie and the story and how I am struggling with the logic behind it. Once again, I don't want to hurt anyone's sentiments, so please watch it with an open mind. I'll be back soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Stay safe.